Welcome to this build. This is a build based on the Hexblade mod, the Warlock Hexblade, a subclass that will be introduced in patch 2. What I'm going to show you here is a variation of this build. This build is focused on melee and on charisma only. The idea is to not drink a strength potion to basically override charisma. You want to bind your weapon. There are a couple of like Hexblade mod specific abilities I'm going to show you, and I'm going to talk about it. I want to show a quick combat scene, and then we are going to talk how this build is enabled in the following. Just for context, I'm a Hexblade 5, so to get an extra attack, basically I am a Gloomstalker 4 to get another attack within the first round. Just FYI, I kind of borked the build before I went into the House of Hope. I accidentally selected Beastmaster. I didn't look right, and I keep wondering where's my extra attack here, but there's an extra attack in the first round. And lastly, there is the Grand Weapon Master, which I only selected if you kill, you can hit again. We are not wielding a dual-handed weapon, that's counterintuitive for this build. We want to select a single-handed weapon, and what I've chosen here is where is it? I can't find my ring. Well, it's the Shadowblade that I'm running. So here we go. Yeah, the Shadowblade ring is my second ring, so we have a very high concentration chance, almost unbreakable. There's a Eldritch feat called Eldritch Mind, which gives you advantage on concentration saving throws. Gonna talk about this later. Let's just look into the combat here. We are trying to kill Raphael in one round. Okay, so let's test the combat situation here. First thing I'm going to do is turn on the Eldritch Smite for critical 6 to 48 force damage twice and can knock the target prone. Then we are going to sneak attack, and you see I use forced psychic damage here, so I'm playing the Shadowblade with a vulnerability implication through the Resonance Stone. It synergizes well, thought it's cool. So let's see how much damage we can do here. The goal is to kill him in the first round. So we surprised him. We kicked it off with a critical hit as expected. So we did 180, 190 damage here. Next I want to select, let's see, Psionic Overload. I'm going to crit anyway, so I don't want to do that actually. I want to use Mind Sanctuary here to get another attack out of this. Actually, that is better. And like I said, the build is a little bit borked because I by accident selected Beastmaster. Don't ask me why, but it happened, and so yeah, not gonna comment on it further. It was like absolutely my fault. So what we're gonna do here, we can use Booming Blade. This is like from in the E5 mod, an additional 2 to 8 thunder damage. I'm not going to do that. I want to stick with the base game, what you can do without a mod technically. So we're going to sneak attack again. Now he's prone. We're about 400 damage in, so we did our second Eldritch Smite. So we're out of Eldritch Smite. We would need a short rest for this. Regular critical hit. I'm going to do another hit, which is another critical hit. Do another critical hit, and we missed our goal by, well, 40. So that's like bad luck, I guess, in rolling. Yes, there are other builds like the Bardadin, probably, where you can stack different types of damage to kill him. Well, not actually radiant damage because of the rebuke he has here. But nevertheless, you see we did 626 damage. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to end this turn here. Shame on me, failed, didn't kill him in one round, the legal way. So what we're just gonna do is we're gonna stay in here. Maybe he moves. No, he does an invocation, but we can do a nice psychic damage that we're not gonna do it. Because he would move, we couldn't hit him in case he moves. Nope, we're not going to do this. Yes, I'll take the damage. No, here we go. And he is not dead. We missed him. Let's get hit a couple of times or not. You see my concentration saving throws are so extremely high. Nothing really can hurt me because of my fantastic Eldritch Mind. Also going to go into this here in a second, so we'll just take a couple of attacks here. Yes, please hit me, and we're going to delete him, hopefully from Earth. Yeah, okay, so he's dead. Alright, so let's go over the leveling guide. So you see I use like a modded setup. This is obviously not a real armor in game, so let's just ignore basically all the individual pieces here. I'm just going to walk through the levels and why I selected them. So first, what we're going to do is we want to have a build that early on enables the game so that we are not stuck for 80-90% of the game, basically doing nothing, and then in Act 3, late Act 3, we have this really nice build. Doesn't make any sense to me. I want to have fun throughout the game. So that's the goal here. And the second goal is to focus on charisma, as I mentioned. We want to hit with charisma. We don't want to hit with strength. 5 minutes in the game about, you can buy from anti-ethel strength pots, which put you at 21 strength, when you can where you can basically drive your damage through, but we want to use charisma. That's the goal. And charisma builds slower. It has flexible options. You can talk, especially I'm running a solo honor run here, so I need charisma essentially. So I'll take a little bit of a hit in my overall hit ability, or damage dice roll, I should say. So just keep that in mind. You also see I installed the E5 mod, so you see a couple of other spells down here that may be unusual to the actual game. What I'm going to stick with is a couple of personal selections because I think they're great. So first we want to do is Eldritch Blast is a must. We also always need to have Eldritch Blast. It will replace basically our ranged attacks. You will always want to use Eldritch Blast. It builds with more raise over time. It will become stronger than a regular ranged attack for your build. Second, you want to use, I'm selecting Booming Blade. You can select anything else, but when I say anything else that doesn't require concentration, because we want to concentrate on our, let me see if I can turn it, I can't really see this, on our Shadow Blade. This is like what's in the back here. Next, we are going to select Hexblade, the class we want to run. We want to select a couple of items here, so let's say sure, we want to use Shield and Armor of Agathis early on, where you don't have the Shadow Blade, so pre-Act 2 you can run with Hex and do your shenanigans that you usually do with your Warlock. Next, this is going to be my distribution, so Strength 8, we are going to get to Strength 10 in Act 2 through the potion from the trader, where Astarion has to bite her. Dex 14, Constitution 16 for like higher saving throws, 8 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and then 17 Charisma. In the beginning you want to run Charisma on 16 obviously to save the point, but the moment you have anti-ethels here you can go to 17 and just reclass. This is fully up to you, whatever skills you select. So let's see. So we are leveling up. So let's see, first, Warlock level 2. What are we going to do in Warlock level 2? We are not going to do really anything. This all doesn't matter to you here, because this will break your concentration, which you need on the Shadow Blade, and anything else will cost Warlock slots, which we don't want to spend either, because they're for our smites. So it's a little counterintuitive, kind of like how you have to think about it. If you run a different weapon, sure, select Hex. I personally choose not to, so I'm going to select anything that doesn't require concentration here. Let's select this one. Regarding your evocations, obviously antagonizing blast in case you need ranged. And then we have a couple of new abilities down here. So we have Eldritch Mind, which gives you advantage on Constitution saving throws Eldritch Spear doubles your Eldritch Blast range, so this is absolutely OP, obviously. If you build a blaster build and go 2 into Hexblade, you can blast over the entire map. I don't think enemies can even see you, so you can do several actions before you actually get in combat and just do mass crits, right? Grasp of Hadar pulls enemies closer, and the Lance of Lethargy, however you pronounce that, pushes them away. We want to use Eldritch Mind because we want to get advantage on Constitution saving throws to keep our concentration. So that's very important for the actual blade. This also means I don't have to go a level into Fighter, for example, to gain that ability. I can just stay Warlock, which is great because it saves me a level. Level 3. Again, spells do not really matter too much. I want to pick something for field utility, so in this case, Mirror Image here. Pact of the Blade, of course, because we want to hit with Charisma, and we want to bind our weapon. That's the entire thematic build. You can see I went Githyanki here, so there's a Githyanki under the mask. I was thinking about to go a different build before, that's why I selected Githyanki for the psych damage and so forth. Didn't end up doing it. And we want to replace a spell, so the spell we want to replace is our fantastic Misty Step, and we want to get rid of this, what I just selected here earlier. So, next level, level 4, again, our first feat. Again, we can select anything here, so sometimes your concentration breaks, that's absolutely fine. You just redo it once a short rest, right? In this case, I'll just select Friends in case you want to run with a hammer for a minute. Also think about, you don't have the Shadow Blade at level 4. You have the Shadow Blade at level 7, 8, likely in Honor mode. So Friends in the beginning is very nice to win all the dice throws. And here again, I want to select something that doesn't require concentration, because we want to concentrate on our Shadow Blade. So let's see here, I'm just going to select Shatter, just for the sake of. And feats. So feats are important. You will have 2 feats with this build. How you're selecting them is fully up to you. What I like to do is, I don't like to select ASI. I know it will give you better dice rolls, a little bit more damage, but I'd rather have another attack. Because with a bound weapon, you can only have 1 extra attack. In Honor mode it doesn't stack, and it doesn't neither stack with the Bloodlust portion. So the only other chance to build another attack in is with Grand Weapon Master if you have a kill. Because if you kill, I can use a bonus action to do another attack. So it gives me continuously usually 3 attacks. And that's my personal preference. I know I'm not going to play out the full ability because I'm not using a 2-handed weapon, but that's fine for here. You saw that in the example with Raphael just a second. It gives me several attacks on a vulnerability that is forced. So that's actually very good. Alright, and the last level here, level 5, I again can select anything. I like to select Counterspell just in case we need to counterspell something. You don't know, but the cool thing is now you get more individual Eldritch Invocations here. So first you get improved Pact Weapon, so I can give my my short sword a +1, which is a +2 on vulnerability, and it stacks with the forced critical hits. Eldritch Smite, we definitely want to select the Eldritch Smite, because if we are critical hitting what we are doing, because we will go into Assassin, this is guaranteed, and it's a killer for boss enemies. That's all you need this for. Anybody else will just be deleted from Earth. And how this works, it gives you a 1d8 per level in Warlock. So currently we are level 5. So this will be a, what is that, a 5d40 or something like that. 6d48 or something like that. We can check it in a second. Cloak of Flies, I'm not going to select that. I don't think it's very useful. You can add your Charisma modifier to Intimidation, but you get a disadvantage on everything else. I don't like that. Undying Servitude, I'm not resurrecting minions. Don't need that either. Tomb of Levistus. Sounds a little gimmicky, can help you, you can freeze, gain temporary hit points. Kind of sounds a little bit OP, but I don't know how useful it is for me. I need agility in the field. And then we already selected Eldritch Mind and the Spear. We're just gonna leave there. So next we are going level 6. So in level 6 we want to multi-class. Yet again, the actual progression within the game, if you start at level 1, is a little different. So you can decide basically if you go 5 into Warlock in the beginning, you should reach that relatively quick in Act 1. You can think about to multi-class. It's kind of up to you, however you want to build your character. Alright, so here we are going to select Ranger. And in Ranger, we want to get proficiency in heavy armors, so we select Ranger Knight. And the reason why I select Ranger is purely because of an extra attack in the first round, which means when we are Assassin, we can crit yet again. On a weapon that forces vulnerability that is not driven through piercing damage. So there are really 2 items in the game where you can do this with. The Resonance Stone is one, and then second, the Ballast Armor is the second for piercing weapons. Certainly you can enforce other vulnerabilities, but just out of the bat, I don't think there's anything else. So we want to select Fire, because Fire is the most used elemental damage, and abilities, select whatever, like perception checks to find hidden spots, or actually here, let's do an athletics. I don't want to get pushed. Okay. Next level, we are able to select 2 spells. So anything, remember, that doesn't require concentration. So of course we want to do Longstrider, and then select whatever you want, right? So you see down here, those are the E5 spells I mentioned. Let's see, I'm just gonna want to talk to animals, for example. Don't really care. And then fighting style, I want to select Dueling, which gives me another +2 on my attack rolls, and I will hold a shield. So this goes very nicely. I don't need to boost armor class in the very early levels. This is nice to have a little bit more AC. In Act 3, I run with AC 24 here. This is like more than enough. Yes, I could boost it to AC, I don't know, I think I could go up to like 30 approximately and be absolutely unhittable, but I don't really care, honestly. Next, we want to yet again select a spell, like I mentioned before, that is not concentration based. So let's see what's not concentration based. I want to select... Sure, I want to talk to animals. I think I already selected that, and that's like an E5 spell because it required concentration. I'm going to select the jump because maybe there's a situation where I have to jump. I don't know. And here we said we want to select Gloomstalker. So with the Gloomstalker, what's very nice is with this build is you get another attack. First round, you get more initiative. You can get invisible, all the shenanigans, you know this from the Gloomstalker assassin build in general. And then on level 4, we get another feat, and here I want, because we roll a lot of dice, I am going to select Savage Attacker. So we roll our dice twice to really get the max in psychic damage that then is getting doubled through the vulnerability. Alright, our last 3 levels, we are going to multi-class again. We are going to go Rogue. Here I like to select anything that makes my build a little bit better to operate, so I go fully into Persuasion. I don't really care about Sleight of Hand. I can pump this differently, basically. Yeah, don't really care, and I'm going to give my second point in, I guess, Deception, because we already have Persuasion. So here we go. I'm going to do that. This is also going to be very straightforward. This is a skip level. I don't need this. And then my last level, I'm going to go Assassin, where we're going to restore our actions basically within a surprise round, and we definitely crit. Item-wise, let me just see. Item-wise, I also want to cover that. These are my choices. You can build the build differently, of course, but I think it makes the most sense to put it together that way. There are other trade-offs. I fully get it. So let's see. A couple of things. I in Act 2 used the Chargepoint Hammer for a while. It is one of two weapons in the game you can bind as an Eldritch Knight or as a Packed Warlock of some type. So it is very nice. It does a lot of damage because you get the 1d6 lightning on top. So with individual damage drivers in Act 2, you can get with 2 to 3 hits up to 100 damage a turn. If you kill, I think it's favorable, but I think thematically we want to use the Shadow Blade. So the Shadow Blade trade-off is you will have to sacrifice a ring slot, essentially, which is okay. But we are getting this fantastic Shadow Blade. And you probably know the mechanic already, so it's concentration based. Our concentration is, I also just want to show you this very quick here, is hardly breakable. We get a lot of from our constitution modifier, and we have our helmet. I am more than okay with that. Next, I'm going to select the risky ring. There are other type of rings you can select too. It's kind of like a back and forth situational. What I think is best. So we could just use the Strange Conduit ring, and because we're concentrating here on the Shadow Blade ring, we get automatically a 1d4 on top, which yet again remember is doubled because of the vulnerability. So I like this combination. You have a 95% hit chance, not on advantage, but you likely will surprise them anyways. So this is pretty good. Further, Bardadin's helmet just to avoid crits. Great for solo runs in general. But you know, it depends a little bit on what your preferences are. This is you see, I used a mod to change basically the look of it. But what this is the armor of persistence, so avoid the little icon up here. But it's basically the armor you can buy in Act 3 that reduces all incoming damage, so I basically become relatively resistant to anything. This is the Deathstalker mantle, where you can go invisible. It's a little bit of a cheat, I think, because you get out of combat, you initiate combat again, people are surprised, you can just like crit. So if you have never done in a Solo Honor run, this is going to be a good choice. I can also use the Shade Slayer cloak, so I will definitely sneak, and it like increases my initial hit to even more crits. So you can like switch this. I'm not going to cast a lot, otherwise the cloak that gives you 8 temporary hit points would be great, because it is better than Heavy Armor Master. You get like 8 temp a turn. Then the Crater Fresh Gloves, 1d6 force on a crit, you will crit. It does actually it rolls 2 dice that are force damage, so 2d6, which is interesting, and it also procs on a Psychonic Overload. So it shouldn't do the damage rider technically in honor mode, but it does, as far as I recall. So this is very nice. When I concentrate, I get 8 temporary hit points, so this is automatically done with the Shadow Blade ring. Once this is done once, you can switch these boots out. You can technically use any type of boots. You can boost the armor class to 25, which is very nice. I like to do that. You can get an extra Misty Step. It's situational. I'm not too locked into the boots. And then the amulet, I use the Amulet of Greater Health just to have more health. If you want to go for a little bit higher damage option, you can obviously select the Brood Mother's Revenge, because you get the definite proc of 1d6 on a critical, do d6 poison. They're poison resistant enemies. It depends. I switch a lot of items basically in these solo runs just to be very agile. And then weapon-wise, I also just want to cover that the Deadshot, just this is a placeholder. I don't need this. I just want to reduce my crits on normal hits. What I also could do is select the where did I put it here? They all look the same, by the way. The Vicious Short Bow, so it gives me another 7 critical damage. which is in this case a psychic damage times 2 for a critical, so 14 per hit. So that could be another nice boost. I went for the critical hit outside of that just to have a little bit more reliance, but obviously it's a trade-off, right? Versus I'll definitely do this damage versus rolling a critical hit is not guaranteed. Again, trade-offs. You know the game, you have seen these items before. Then Viconia is walking a fortress just to have the highest AC in a shield with the spell guard, which is an advantage on saving throws against spells. I definitely want that in solo. And then I have the Shadowblade here, and the Shadowblade again does a 60-20 with a +4 in Psychic. And what's happening here, I talked about this, we are playing a Hexblade, so we can actually bind a ranged weapon or a melee weapon to be a Hex Warrior, and that means that now we have a +7. So it's basically a +5 from Charisma, so this became just a little bit stronger. I can bind this weapon as well, which is now my packed weapon. It doesn't really do anything, but it already runs through Charisma, and then if we are concentrating, basically this damage is getting boosted. What I like to do is I like to get like a companion and just put a Draconic Elemental Weapon on top of it. So it's a little stronger. Usually use Ice or Electric because that's easy with water, also to enforce vulnerabilities and double damage, and so forth. You get the build. Let me know any question on this. Yes, I just wanted to repeat this. You can use this type of combination up here with a paladin, for example, or fighter, or like however you change the classes and push damage a little bit further. I totally get it. This is more around using the Shadowblade with the vulnerability that you can enforce basically through down here the Resonance Stone. But I think it just like looks pretty badass when you're a warlock, and I just really like the aesthetic of it for the Hexblade in general. Anything else you see here is done via mods, so the armor and the mask basically. If you're curious how my character looks like, this is the actual character. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'm going to kill the brain now. See y'all.